recording. Word. Alright.
Yeah, I need to hit. I'm gonna hit up too short. If we get that space.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this on? Let's see.
You think the front room or front room was what?
Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Talking about me? I mean, yeah, but I ain't moved it in a while. But I always got TVs on deck. You know, plays. You don't want to play Smash. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Alright, so word. You talking about at where? What? I have no idea about that. Discord's updated. Word. What up, Strick? What's good, boy? Man, about to get beat up by you, man.
Choose your character.
All right, now just let me get you back. I'm about to start playing this Smash Bros. But you gonna be up late? All right, I'm gonna hit you back then. All right, peace. All right, freaking Discord can finish updating. All right, we in the Discord. Let my co-host know I'm in there. I'm in the living room. Turn down the music a little bit. Shoot, let's go. My code is MGFC 772. Alright, I know your code is. Hold on, I don't know if it's still the same code. Strict. Put your code in here, bro. I don't think so. Nope, ain't got your code in here, bro. Nope, gotta put it in here. Yep, Dark 352. Alright, cool. Let's put you. DARK 352. Alright. I got a whole database. Check on Discord. Marty, you in the building?
Yo,
What's going on, man? Let me turn the music down a little bit, man. I can hear you better.
Not much.
Sorry, so late, man. Like, yo, man, I feel like every night these girls want to go to sleep later and later, man. That's ridiculous, bro. But we did keep them up though, a couple nights in a row to let them see the election stuff. So, and we.
Okay.
Yeah. Versus yeah, man. What are your thoughts, bro?
So far as the election goes,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is the result that I wanted for the presidency. I wanted Biden to win, for many reasons. I'm a little bit disappointed of the stuff that happened down ballot. Like I was a little upset that the Dems lost some seats in the House, but they still control the House, so it's not a problem. The Senate races were more surprising to me than anything else, even though I guess they shouldn't be. Like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that Kentucky re-elected Mitch McConnell. I don't understand.
Yeah. Kentucky, yo. Like,
oh man, that state is boy.
I mean,
state is something.
The state is something, bro.
Yeah, there's something, but yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, people need to understand that this, is not all there is to it. It's the first step to getting things back and better for people.
Right.
Just the presidential election is only one step. So Trump has been fired. That's a good first step.
Yeah, Trump has been fired. Yo, did you by chance see like I don't know if it was MSNBC or CNN, but it was one of those. They were showing this one guy, and and so dude literally had somebody walk up behind him that said he had like a Trump mask on, and the guy says, "Hey, is this real news or fake news?" And the reporter was like, "Fuck off!" and just was like, he just went back to reporting. Oh man, shit was crazy, bro. Oh, I can't believe that shit actually made it to live. Well, I know how like live doesn't always have that delay or whatever, but that shit killed me. That shit fucking killed me, bro.
Oh man, like there's gonna be a lot of people clowning folks over the over the next few days and stuff like this. It's definitely gonna be a thing. Matter of fact, I had a little incident today. Somebody removed me from their Facebook.
What?
Today.
Oh, like, I mean, but because of something you said, or what? I'm confused.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he said, "Oh yeah." So, okay, well, I mean, do tell.
Yeah. This is somebody I don't really know that well. Like I met him through like fighting games.
Gotcha.
I'm not really close to the dude, but like he, as I just found out today, he's like a QAnon believer. And so,
what?
I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so like most people don't really know what it is unless you spend a decent amount of time like watching anything having to do with like political debates and stuff online or anything. But so QAnon is like a conspiracy theory that began on like 4chan or like 8chan, one of those like forums. But
okay,
it's basically a conspiracy that like people believe that a lot of the top-ranking Democrats, like Hillary Clinton and some other people, are secretly involved in a child sacrificing cabal.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, where they like sacrifice children and drink their blood with the adrenaline in it, so they can like stay youthful.
Yeah.
It was really weird, and so like he like believes that stuff full on. Like he believes that cabal exists and everything like that. I said I think he's an idiot. Like that stuff isn't real. Like all the stuff that they've put out has never been substantiated. Like nothing is substantiated. Like it's just a bunch of conspiracy theories, and that's kind of like how conspiracy theories work. Is they put the proof of burden on someone else while trying to remove it from themselves. And so like they'll say a bunch of things that like could be possible, sure. I mean, it's possible that Hillary Clinton and everyone like are actually lizard people that rule the earth and eat children. Like that's entirely possible. Like there's no way for me to prove that that's not true.
Right.
But at the same time, like there's no proof of evidence there. It's just the conspiracy theory. And so like he believed that stuff, and I was just like, I think you're dumb.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to remove you. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I don't even know you that well anyway.
Wow.
So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are really upset over this thing, and people believe a lot of really crazy things when it comes to politics. Like people believe a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's actually, I was talking that to my buddy the other day, was like about how like that's like one of the main ways that people vote nowadays is based off conspiracy theories. And it's like, come on now, like we have Google, we can like look things up, we can do research, we don't have to just believe what we read on Twitter and Facebook posts all the time. But
yeah, like I actually got into it a little bit with Cornell. Actually,
really?
Yeah, because he posted something really dumb on Facebook. Like it was this video. I don't know if you know what the Daily Wire is.
I think. Well, is that the news channel? Or like it's like.
Well, it's a quote unquote news publication, but I mean, actually, it's like a right wing conspiracy rag, run by Ben Shapiro.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Editor-in-chief. Yeah. And like they post a lot of misinformation like consistently, and like a lot of conspiracy stuff, and like a lot of the stuff is not founded and everything is like it's not substantiated. So like he posted there's a guy that works for the Daily Wire, his name is Andrew Clavin.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cornell posted a video of Andrew Clavin, talking about like, oh, the dirt on Kamala Harris exposed. And I was like, okay. So I watched it, and like literally everything that he discussed was completely like, you could disprove all of it with just like a very quick search from like, credible sources such as Reuters or like the Associated Press and stuff like that. And so like you could just search really quick. And so like the video that he made, it took me like maybe 30 minutes or so to find like every single point, be like, this isn't true because this happened, this isn't true because this happened, and so I posted everything, and like he came away from it with not the information that I wanted him to come away with it from, because he was still like, well, I'm still gonna like look at these sources. And I was like, why? Like they're not credible. Like they're just like conspiracy theories, and they just hate Democrats. Like they just post anything about them. And I'm not in love with the Democratic Party. Like, they have a lot of problems and everything like that. But like, there's plenty of things that you can legitimately criticize them on. Like, why make up conspiracy theories and like stupid stuff? So.
That's a good point too, because like that's one thing about the Democratic Party that like historically, I mean, we all can say like there's been some fucked up shit, to be done.
Oh sure,
like yeah, even like historically with Clinton and Hillary with the whole super predators. Like I know when I watched the 13th, that was where I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know previously. Like when all that stuff was going down, I didn't know it was. I was too young really to process like a lot of those things.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and so like there's plenty of things that you can criticize them on legitimately. Like why make up like weird conspiracy theories about like them eating or molesting children, or like them taking kickbacks from like union organizations when it's not proven that they've done so, and stuff like that, like for votes. And it's this is the age that we live in. Like people just need to be really careful with like what sources they choose to get information from. And if they do get information from a source, like do a little bit of research on that source, like look up on like media bias fact checks and stuff, and like just make sure that like people the sources that you're getting them from are you know, credible and they can substantiate stuff like this. Pause.
Yeah, no. He wasn't moving, so I was just like, had to make sure he was good. But I wanted to actually comment on what you mentioned about you said okay, like essentially like okay, proven stuff. Okay, so one of my biggest questions as far as like the political party stuff is like is it true or not that the parties split? I mean, switched or they did not switch? Like I always, you know, hear stories like where that like initially the views of the parties were one way and
yeah. I mean that happened. It's pretty well documented. Also, also to answer Sir Hot Sauce, we started talking about the results of the presidential election, and now we're talking a little bit about politics. And so yeah, so it's pretty well documented with the ideological shift in between the two parties. A lot of the Dixiecrats, as they were called.
oh wow.
Yeah, they're the ones that went over to the to the Republican Party, and they gained a lot of influence there. So then, like, their central messaging became, you know, pretty much what it is now. Like, it kind of started at one point and changed, and then kind of devolved into what it is now. And then the the Democratic Party ended up shifting their focus into being a little more inclusive than they were before, because they used to, you'll hear like a lot of conservatives talk about like, well, you know, the Democrats are the party of the Klan and all that stuff, which is true to a certain extent. But then when that ideological shift happened, a lot of the Klan members of, you know, like I said, the Dixiecrats and stuff, like, they ended up switching parties and stuff. So it's pretty well documented. You can go read up on it a little bit. There's a lot of documentation on it.
I do gotta do some more. I gotta do some research, because that's one thing I've always heard like people talk about, but I never took the time to do the research on it myself.
Yeah.
But word. Oh, word. That's you know, that's Ben. Sir Hot Sauce is Ben, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, Marty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I am getting my peanut butter pushed in right now.
So yeah, like they ended up flipping, yeah, and like there's so many people that, like, you know, try to just say it's, to say it's a lie or it's bullshit. Like, I actually got into it on my wall like sometime last year with two people that I knew pretty well from the Street Fighter community, and like they were talking about, oh, that's BS. I was just like, this is really like heavily documented. This has been heavily researched by like a lot of credible sources. Like, this isn't really disputed, but like, it's, people will believe whatever they want to believe to fit whatever narrative makes them happy in their head most of the time. So
Yeah.
It's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, that is kind of the way it goes. It's like, well, people will deny things that they know to be true, but just because they want it to be right, they'll deny it. And yeah, that's never.
It's sad, because, like, we live in an age now where people have so much access to information. I mean, we literally, sitting at a computer, we literally have access to all the world's information right at our fingertips. Look up whatever we want to look up, everything like that. But then, people just choose to believe like really weird stuff sometimes, just based on like, they hate, they might hate, black people or something because they had some experience with a black person or whatever. Or like, they were raised in a family that just hates black people, stuff like that. And so then, like, they'll just believe like a lot of like really weird lies or like things that are taken out of context. And it's like, well, this is like an actually heavily researched subject. Like, you could just look up the actual information. Nah, I don't want to do that.
Nope.
Like, okay. Oh. It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. I think it's like one of my buddies says, like, if somebody wants to be ignorant, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't do anything about willful ignorance. Like that's one of the unfortunately one of the big dangers that we face in the United States is a lot of people want to be willfully ignorant, and I mean you can't make someone change their mind. Like you can't make someone think something. So it's just like, well, if this person truly like wants to believe a certain thing, or like they want to stay ignorant on a subject, like they will, because there's nothing you can do about it.
That's true. That's definitely true. Let me type in one more real quick with Strick. I don't know if Strick can hear me, but after about 15 minutes of playing, I got to take a break for the hands. But oh, Marty, so this is one thing I had to ask you too, as far as like historically speaking.
Yeah, sure. I'll answer as best I can.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the voting process, like the changes that's been made, just what are your overall thoughts on our current voting process?
Oh, like our like our entire electoral system.
Yeah.
Probably taking into account the electoral college.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I personally think that the electoral college might need to go. I need to do a little more thinking about it, but like so far, everything that I've come to think about involving it, like I think it probably needs to go. I think we're at a point to where it's not really helpful to our electoral process anymore.
Right.
Yeah, like there are people that make arguments like, oh well, if you have that happen, then like, you know, you're just gonna have states like New York and California like rule the United States, and it's just like, okay, but I also don't think that people should be rewarded for choosing to live in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't care if like you want to live in the middle of like, you know, random ass town Wyoming. Like, you shouldn't be rewarded with like having, you know, a more powerful and more potent vote because you chose to live in the middle of the woods. Like, that's really stupid. So like, I don't really, you know, think so far that we need to keep that around. Like you know, like the reason why it was formed was, you know, basically as like concession for like slave owning states and stuff like that. Yeah, because they didn't want to. What am I trying to say here? Like, power ended up getting shifted with like the 3/5 compromise and stuff like that, and so like the electoral college was made to you know, compensate like slave owning states essentially, but we don't really like need that anymore in our current society, and I don't think that you know, we really need to continue that. But you know, but of course I want to read up on it a little bit more before I make like my full decision, but so far I'm leaning towards like we don't need to have it anymore.
I have to agree with you on that, because it's one thing that like, even the research that I've done, and I like the way you put it, like about the whole rule thing, because that's a better way than what I was thinking. Was like, it was just depending on and GG strict, by the way, depending on like the difference in like voting power and like the whole like the what's that one thing called like the absentee, the big thing that we had to deal with this time, the absentee ballot process, like, because this was the first time that I've actually utilized the absentee ballot, and actually I was going to use it, and I ended up just like saying forget it. Like, I had it in my hand, like, you know, I was going to deliver it the day of the election, and it was like, you know what, I'm just going to go. So I went. The polling place was actually right next door to my house at a school, and I just actually invalidated my absentee ballot and then voted in person. And I essentially want to do that because I wasn't sure, because I had heard so many stories, and like, you know, was reading so many articles on like people's ballots not being counted. And
like a lot of that stuff just wasn't true. Like the problem with this election, and actually real quick, and I want to address what Ben was saying, yeah, getting rid of first past the post voting will also really help in this country as well. Like, a lot of people don't realize like how our voting system works. It's like first past the post is essentially makes it like an all or nothing voting, uh, all or nothing voting structure. And so, if we had like ranked voting or whatever, you would end up seeing like more variance of of candidates. But then the problem that you have with that is we wouldn't be able to do that right away. And the reason why is because with the way that our lawmaking system works, if let's say for whatever reason, what's their name, Joe Jorgensen ended up winning the presidential election, right? Well, the problem is that like, as we currently stand, she would essentially be like a do nothing president. And the reason why is because with the way that we make laws, you have to have support in order to do that. That's the reason why the Republican and the Democratic Party have spent so many decades and so many years constantly fundraising and building support, because you need support in the government from the top down. So it's like if you're trying to like pass legislation and you have a vision in mind, then like you have to have support from, you have to have support from the Senate, from the House. You have to have support, from the local governments, like governors, mayors, things like that. Like the president can't just do everything. He's not a king. So you have to have that kind of support in place in order to get your vision for the nation manifested. So if you're a party that hasn't been around long, or you haven't really gotten any support or anything like that, you're going to try to write up a bunch of legislation, and the Senate is going to just look at it and just be like, no, we don't feel that our constituents, want this done, and like they'll block it. And I mean, the the Republicans do that to the Democrats anyway, and that happened through most of President Obama's presidency. Like for 6 years, they were just like no. And I mean, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell came out on a international television and said that his number one goal, was to make President Obama a one-term president. He said that he did not care if there was legislation passed that would help his constituents, that would help America. He said if it came from Obama, he was saying no, or he was not looking at the bill, and they wouldn't hold, a Senate meeting to vote on it. Like he just said no.
Just straight up said no.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some changes that I think that we have to make in order to, to avoid things like this from happening. But I mean, I don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly how you would do it, but getting past first past the post voting would help in some ways, but then also in some other ways, it would kind of ruin a lot of things in our country. So we would have to first change some other structural things within our infrastructure in order to implement that, I think. Yeah. But going back to what you had asked me for, I'm trying to think of exactly what it was before I went off on that tangent for.
That was just about the Electoral College and whether or not it needed to go away or not.
But yeah, we talked about that. I feel there was a subject after that, but
Oh no, it was the absentee ballots.
Oh yeah, for the absentee ballots. Yeah. So the problem that happened with this time was like Trump sabotaged tried to sabotage absentee ballots, and then he constantly spread propaganda and misinformation about how mail-in voting worked, and he's like, oh, there's all this fraud and blah blah, and like he made up stories about like, oh yeah, we found these like in dumpsters and in rivers and stuff like that, like, which none of it was true, but people people in our nation don't really know a whole lot about like how our voting system works, how our government works, or like, I mean, hell, most people don't even know how taxes work at all. Like if you
That's
ask most
true.
people like on
That's
how much they're going to pay in taxes, you'll get a wrong number from like 90% of people.
yep.
So like so I mean, he spread a bunch of lies about it, so then people were not comfortable with using absentee ballots when, you know, mail-in voting you know has been active since like the Civil War, and there's
Mm.
never been any kind of substantive uh, voter fraud, like ever in all the investigations. I mean, hell, when Trump first got in office and talked about like, oh, 3.5 million uh, illegal immigrants voted for Clinton, right? And
Mm.
so he formed his own team to investigate it, and then he had to take that team apart because they didn't find anything. I mean, he was the number one person crying about, oh, I got cheated. I should have had all these more votes and stuff. He formed his own team. And they didn't even find any voter fraud at all. I mean, voter fraud is just not something that we really deal with in a substantive amount in the United States. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Mm. Let's see that. I see. I wasn't even aware of that. I mean, that's also a situation too. Like where I'm ignorant to not doing enough research there to where I've allowed too many headlines to influence
Mhm.
my ideology behind absentee ballots and voter fraud and stuff like that. Because I know there's a bunch of different cases out there and investigations that are all public information. But yeah, that's definitely something I gotta add on the to-do list as far as research too.
Now, here's something I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't agree that bills need to be single issue. Like, I don't necessarily think that that's the problem, because it can be in certain bills, because you will have some politicians poison pill bills, and then you know for example, you'll have a bill that's called like the We Love Soldiers Act or something, right? And it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, well, we'll give higher pay to the military. Everybody in the United States loves the military, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and so it'll get voted down, and you'll have all these people just be like, boo, like, boo so and so party. They voted against, the soldiers getting pay. And it's like, yeah, that looks like that on the surface. But then when you read the bill, there's like other stuff put in, like if this bill gets signed in, then like, all these corporations will have some kind of immunity, to something, so that, there's no repercussion if they commit like so and so crime or like something like. It's like these things get shoved in, and that's kind of what happened with the stimulus plan that we had, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was like, everybody's getting mad at Nancy Pelosi. You're like, oh, she won't approve anything, blah, blah, blah. Trump says he's ready to sign something. And like, she just said, like, no, like, this bill is awful. People won't be getting any money, et cetera, et cetera. And then, a bunch of people are crying like, well, you should sign anyway. We all need something. But if you actually read the bill, there was no direct money actually going to citizens. It was going to businesses, and uh, the Republicans put in a clause to where large companies would have what they call, like, coronavirus immunity. So
Mm.
basically, let's say you went to your job, right, and your job made you do a task that you ended up getting infected over. You would have no legal way from there to sue them at all. Like, there'd be no repercussion. So
Like,
had that stimulus bill gotten signed, your you know your job or your manager could just go make you do something, and then if you ended up getting sick, you ended up getting coronavirus, you know, from that thing that they made you do, you would have no recourse. They could just tell you to go fuck off. Like, okay, cool. You either deal with it, or you go find another job, and there would be no recourse that you would have whatsoever.
none whatsoever.
Yeah. So that's like the main reason. Probably, this is speculation. I obviously do not personally know Nancy Pelosi at all. I'm not a close friend or associate of hers.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess, my speculation, is that that's one of the main reasons that she decided not to sign that, because not only would people not get any money directly at all, but then you would have a lot of people going out here, they get sick, they get sick, and their employer would just tell them to fuck off, and there'd be nothing they could do about it. So, I mean, there's, you have to really look with those bills, because they get poison pilled a lot. You got to go read them.
That's yeah. I actually one of my friends had told me that too, like where, like even when like some of the new tax codes that come out every year, like yeah, those have like they're written also in a way to where if you don't reread them like multiple times, they have so many like negative, or I guess was it double negative type connotations, to where you think that it means one thing but it actually means something else.
Yeah, like our tax code in the U.S. is unnecessarily complicated, and well, actually, if you look at any bill or law, like they're worded in such a way, and they do it, partly because they word it in such a way to cover a lot of bases so that people, can't find like a ton of loopholes in what they said. So you have to like word things really carefully like that. But then it's also like unnecessarily complicated so that people can, use the tax system and to their certain advantages or disadvantages. Like, like Trump's tax cuts, for example, right? And so this is one of the things that was like kind of a double-edged sword that he did, that you could view it as good, depending on your circumstance. But like, essentially people were going home, with more money on their check and stuff with Trump's tax cuts. But the problem is that like some of those tax cuts would have to be paid back by the employer. And so, what happens most of the time when a company, has to pay more in taxes? They usually cut jobs.
Right.
So because like, personnel is, for a business, a pretty large expense, because not only do you have to pay salary, you have to pay like, for life, health, dental and vision on that employee. You have to pay into like, their retirement. Most companies match like a certain percentage, etc. So like, I mean, those were good that people were taking home, more money, but at the same time, it was kind of like, this is going to be a problem later on. And then, that happened with one company, AT&T, I think. So they ended up getting a bunch of money from the tax cuts that Trump, put out there, and then they took the money, they gave a lot of their high-ranking executives and stuff bonus, and then they laid off a bunch of people. They laid off thousands of people. Yeah, they laid off a lot of people. Yeah, so I mean, it's, when that stuff happens, you have to look like very carefully as to like who's going to get what and what is going to happen in the fallout, of said bill, because most of the time corporations are not going to really act in the best interest of the people. Like, they're going to act in the best interest of their shareholders. So they're going to try like to make the most profit and make money, or make the most money possible. So yeah, of course, always has been, probably always will be, knowing people. So yeah.
They would lay off at the end of every year. And that was just like almost like a yearly thing. Oh yeah, my bad, Ben. I actually I was trying to change the volume on my mic and put it down too low. But yeah, no, that's I think that's that's business is what it is. But to lay
Yeah.
off people,
Yeah, but it's really messed up. I mean, like people say that as if like it's a legitimate excuse to be a scumbag, and it's like, no, it's not an excuse. Like it's just what people do, and we've gotten so used to people being corrupt and stuff that like people just look at it and they're like, man.
that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
it's sad.
that's super sad. Random side note here. Definitely did not get to eat dinner, so I'm gonna try to eat as quietly as possible in the middle of this.
All right.
But just go. I want to go back to the presidential thing. Let's see what Ben said. Said this is why you can't deregulate business. Business will always sacrifice workers fair and proper. Yep. That's a fact.
That's 100% true. Like
That's 100%.
you have to have these regulations in place so that like people would actually somewhat treat people okay. Like just a quick tangent. That's the reason why like I find some political debates really weird. Like there's a lot of like I don't know, libertarians that have the argument of like, oh, we shouldn't even have like we shouldn't even have a minimum wage because like the free market should dictate the value of labor, and you should be able to negotiate what your labor is worth, and you should just get more skills if you feel you're not getting paid enough. And it's just like that's not the way anything has ever worked ever in the history of the world, because like these people act like we didn't live through a time period where companies were literally working people to death in factories for a few cents a day. Like that happened in this country, and like we had to end up getting the Fair Labor Standard Act of 1938 in order to like stop that, because we had to establish a minimum wage and all of that stuff, which at the time President Roosevelt did that. He specifically put in the bill supposed to be a living wage, and so people were actually being compensated a living wage. But that ended up changing around like the early 70s. Corporations ended up lobbying for like more laws and stuff to make it so that they didn't have to treat workers as well, that they didn't have to raise wages, to scale times and stuff like that, and then they could maximize profits. And then from there, it kind of became the business culture that we have now. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to get that tangent out of the way. But,
No, I'm glad you said it because I definitely didn't know about that.
Yeah.
My main experiences with like the working class, like historically speaking, was based off of, this is just like from my parents telling me stories about like their grandparents, was that at one point in time, like instead of 40-hour weeks, it used to be like 80-hour weeks, I think it was.
Oh yeah, like they were literally like working people to death in these factories. Like I am not kidding. I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggerating anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm not. Like they used to literally do that for pennies a day. Like
That's crazy, man. That's just it always makes you like feel like, I mean, granted, my father's mother's may she rest in peace. She passed away back in 29 the beginning of 2019.
okay.
And when she told me stories about how things were when she was growing up, like I was like, I can't believe like she and her generation, like they withstood that stuff, like to where all the different obstacles that they had and things like they didn't even have the opportunities to do, that we have now, and the fact that they were just able to push through. I really feel for that generation. Like, I definitely.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we have stuff rough now, but I mean, a lot of it is nothing compared to what our past generations, particularly being black in America, like in years past, like what we go through a lot of times is nothing compared to what they've gone through. Like the stories I've heard from my father and grandparents and stuff like that is just like whew, man. But but thanks, man. Like I appreciate it, man. I'm not all knowledgeable or anything like that. I'm not all knowing. There's a lot of stuff that I read, and also conversations with like my father and other people that are from the past generation. You know, they drop a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of stories about how things used to work, and it's things were wild. That's all. So
Things
it was
were
wild.
man.
It was wild.
One,
Yeah.
one of my buddies who was streaming, she got one of those like questionnaire things to where like you pick a number, and then it's like you read it, you go to this book to the page, and it was like if you can pick a time to go back to, what time would it be? And she was like, I don't know if I want to go back that far because the further back you go, pretty fucked up shit was happening back then. And I was like, touche, definitely touche. But she ultimately said like the 90s, just because of like how fun it was to just be a kid in the 90s, which I have to agree, like that was pretty fun. But
I don't know if I would go back to the '90s. We had a unprecedented crime wave in the '90s.
oh
Like
yeah, that's true.
unprecedented. Like violent crime was just out of this world in the night. Like crime rates were massive. Like that's the whole reason, with an infamous crime bill that came out, that everybody, talks about when they want to try to slam Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which I mean, that crime bill ended up having a lot of, detrimental effects, but so far as the blame goes, like I feel people are really placing the blame in the wrong places. But
I completely forgot about that. I ain't gonna front. Some of my friends are definitely some of the cause of those high crime rates.
Yeah, I mean, mine too.
They mine.
Yeah, I mean, there's people I know that definitely contributed to that.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, they're on. My friends are on better paths now. I don't know about yours, but
oh yeah, definitely are. Thankfully, some of them aren't, but most of them are. Yeah, but I mean, politics is complicated, and like people try to like simplify it down to really like, oh, he's to blame for this and stuff, and it's just like, you need to read deeper, into that to see like why, like real quick, I'll just talk about the crime bill since I guess we're talking about it, but
yeah, let's do it.
But I mean, like, people blame Biden because like he was one of the main authors of the crime bill, and it's like, yeah, he was, but this crime bill was something that was wanted by like every community in the United States, including the Black community. Like everybody wanted this bill because I mean, crime was unprecedented. And he's like it was at crazy levels. Like it's one of the largest spikes that like we've ever had in the United States. Period. Actually, this was a worldwide thing in the '90s too. It was like a worldwide phenomenon. Crime was up like pretty much on every place on the planet.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like if you go back and look at crime statistics from the '90s, this is bad. And so like they passed this crime bill and ended up having really detrimental effects. Now, Biden actually, he actually saved the bill from having like a really catastrophic part written into it. Like he ended up getting getting it voted down, but it had essentially to do with like the 3 strikes law.
Was that the law that was started by Hillary and Bill?
Yeah. So that was like in the crime bill originally. Biden got it voted down, but while that was implemented, it was bad. So it's complicated. Like to just like blame him completely for the crime bill seems silly to me, since everybody wanted that crime bill implemented, including Black people who ended up having like the biggest negative effect on it. But the Black community was like clamoring for that bill. Like it was supported by the Black caucus and everything during that time. Like, I don't know, this wasn't just something that was just signed in and they were just like, haha, screw Black people. Like, you know, Black people were on board with this at the time. So I mean, to just blame him like singularly for it is just kind of silly, whatever. But I mean, it still had a really detrimental effect on our society.
Right. No, there was Those drug laws, man. Well, especially the ones around marijuana, ones that upset me the most. Like it
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
That makes me a special kind of angry when like,
mhm.
I see a lot of these white guys going out to like Colorado and setting up these stores and getting rich, and meanwhile I got like family members and friends languishing in prison for like a bag, like a baggie, Like, it's like, uh, you know.
That one hurts, man. That one definitely hurts.
Oh yeah.
But all right. So let's talk. We're talking we're on the drug topic.
Yeah.
The war on drugs. Okay.
hmm
Was that essentially just an attack on the black community?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
And in my opinion, you have to kind of look back to you gotta look back to the end of World War II.
World War
Is when
Two.
it started. Yeah. Yeah. So like around like 45, 46, 48, and stuff like that, when the soldiers were coming back and they first introduced like the GI Bill, right?
Oh, I
So
didn't know that's when that was.
yeah. So it actually like made a pretty big shift in or I think it was World War II. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it should have been World War II. Okay,
Mhm.
but yeah, for the GI Bill. So basically, like soldiers were able to come back and then like get their college education paid for by the state,
Mhm.
and one of the fastest ways to accumulate wealth in the United States is to graduate high school, get a college education, get a house. Like one
Oh.
of the easiest ways to accumulate wealth. So they provided this opportunity for a lot of soldiers. Now, a lot of like, soldiers that were infantry and weren't already officers and stuff like that were people who were considered non-white at the time, like people who were Irish, people who were Italian, black people. So they were able to get this, but the problem was the education system. So most black people at the time, it was hard for them to, graduate high school or get an education. So they couldn't really like use the GI Bill. And then plus the GI Bill, had a lot of stuff set up to where they wouldn't be able to benefit from it anyway. So so the reason why this is significant is because people that you had in the ghettos and stuff committing crime before, like organized crime and stuff before, were people in the mob, Italian people.
Mm.
And so when they were able to move out, you know, when they were able to move out of the hood because they had, the GI Bill and all that stuff, so like they were able, to go suburbs and get their house and build wealth and all that stuff. The black people that were still left in these poor neighborhoods, they took over the drug and crime game. Like that's what ended up happening. So your organized crime
Mm.
shifted from them to black people because they're still in these disenfranchised locations, and there's an opening now. And when you don't have any opportunities, like you don't have any job opportunities or anything like that, you can't get jobs. Like that, you have no way of getting money or anything, and people are gonna you know start committing crime to sell drugs. That's what the Italians did. That's what the Irish did. So some of the Jewish people did as well, and
Mm.
they were involved in these mobs and stuff like that. So it's uh that's kind of how that all developed now. So uh and that's the reason why like you have a lot of the neighborhoods kind of how they are now is because like they started with that particular instance happening.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't. So I didn't know just now. So you said like so Jewish communities and Italian communities, like I didn't realize that was.
hmm like so far as that organized crime goes, it
Mm.
was less of the Jewish community, but like the main community was like you know Italian people. That's the reason why like you have all those movies like The Godfather and all that. So it was like that stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. Not to say the specific story of The Godfather happened. I
Mm.
don't actually know if like that story actually happened or not, but
Mm.
I mean stuff like that happened. Like the mob was operating here, and then the neighborhoods would protect the mob from the police, because if the police tried to investigate and get witnesses or anything, nobody was talking. And the reason why nobody was talking is because the money that the mob was making in the community, they dished it out to the community. Like they took care of their community in a lot of ways. Like they gave people money and stuff like that, and that happens today as well. Like there are a lot of people that get protection from their neighborhoods because they hook their neighborhoods up when they get money. That happens a lot of times.
And one hand washes the other in that accord.
Yep, exactly. So it's like they're going to keep supplying, money, and people are going to protect them from, from the cops.
From the cops, man. Okay, so random tangent here. You might not be surprised by this little post that was recent, because this happens all the time. But so on Instagram, I think it was DL Hughley's page. I was scrolling through and saw it was a Karen essentially who was caught picking up signs that said "Flush Trump," and so she was actually called out by a man who's on camera, and it was like questioning her about what she was doing. She admitted to being wrong on camera, but she's like that's disrespectful to the actually, hold on, you know what, instead of me just describing it, hold on, let me see if I can do this. I don't know if I can, what I could do is I could pull up his page and then just see if I can pull it up on my computer and put it on the stream. Let me see. Alright, yeah, looks like we can do that. Alright, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use right here. Alright, let's see if this works. Actually, the first time I've ever tried to do this. Usually what I do is like when I send myself things from my phone to my computer, I'll use WhatsApp, and let's see, I just sent myself the link, copy this link, let's see if this works. Let's see. Oh, looks like it kind of works. All right, let's see what we got here.
Coming in our neighborhood, pulling our signs. You coming in our neighborhood, pulling up our signs.
Please let me leave. Do not touch my car.
And then she have.
Do not touch my car.
And then she have her tag. Then she have her tag covered up.
Please don't touch my car.
Then she have her tag
Sir,
covered
I'm
up.
asking you to please let me go. Please let me go. I need some help. Sir, I'm really sorry.
You're sorry for what?
I did leave the tag. I did leave it.
Can you go put it back?
Yes, I will.
Can you go put it back?
I promise I will.
Because I'm getting ready to call the police.
I'll go put it back.
You're from Hillsborough County, and you're coming in here destroying the neighborhood that I grew up in. You're coming in here and you're destructing the neighborhood that I grew up in.
It said flush Trump.
That's freedom of street.
It said flush the turd.
That's freedom of speech.
It's disrespecting the current president.
That's
sir.
freedom of speech. But why would you take time out of your day? Why would you walk around?
I have no other signs.
Why would you walk around like? Why would you drive around with your tag covered up? You come from Hillsborough County. Where do you live at?
Please let me out.
Where you live at?
Will you please let me out? Disrespectful. It is on public property. It's not on private property. So, and it does impede my. I do have a unit at the storage unit here. It does impede my. And it has been impeding my ability to turn in. So I did pick it up, and as soon as I did, he stopped in the road and he yelled at me and he said, "What are you doing? Are you stealing that?" And I said, "No." And I dropped it. I said, "I'll just leave it right here."
You argued with her, sir?
I wasn't arguing with her.
Were you involved? I mean, all right, here, let me talk to you over here.
Coming in our neighborhood.
Thoughts, concerns, comments.
Like, oh man, I personally have been, involved in something a little bit similar, like not really like the crime part, but like being questioned when I had nothing to do really with the situation at hand part by the police. But like, I mean, she's dead wrong. Like you can't do that. Like that's against the law. Like if people have signs up on their property, you can't just take them. Like that's not something you can do. Like that's their property. Like, you can't just steal it. So you know, like there's a whole bunch of people around here that have Trump signs, and believe me, like I wouldn't have minded going and ripping them up. I can't do that. Like it's not legal to do. So yeah, she's dead wrong. Like the part that makes me angry, and this is part race probably, but also like a lot to do with just like how we're conditioned socially in the United States, is that like whenever there's any kind of conflict involving like, you know, between a man and a woman, like people are going to automatically at first take the side of the woman that is in conflict with the man because of the way that we view women in our society. So like he's already got that against him, and you know, she's gonna lie as well, which she did. And she's like, oh, I'm not stealing this, I dropped it. And you know, so it's like, yeah, she's taking it, she dropped it because like she was taking it. So
Yes.
so I mean, like that's not really like any point whatsoever. But you know, a lot of times people are going to accept the word of, you know, a woman, particularly the situation, particularly if it's a white woman and a black man. So like that's oh boy, like yeah, the story that I was involved in was you know, there's a guy I used to hang out with named Seth. It's a white guy, and I was at his house one night, and you know, we got hungry. It's like pretty late, and so we went to Taco Bell, and he drove. And so my you know, I had my debit card with me, you know, but my license was not with me. Like I had left it at his house by mistake. But I mean, you know, it's whatever. We're riding down the street. Well, his taillight was out, so cop comes up, cop pulls us over, right? You know, he's talking with Seth, and really, I'm not paying attention to the guy because I'm not driving. And so I hear him say like, sir, I need your ID. Like, sir, who are you? I need your ID. And like, you know, he said this a couple times, and I was like, you know, I was in there like, well, damn, Seth, just give him the ID. And then he was like, well, no, Marty, he's talking to you. I was like, what the hell do you need my ID for?
What?
Like I told him straight, I was like, what the hell do you need my ID for? So I go, well, you know, this is you know, routine. I was like, no, it's not. I'm not driving. You do not need to know who I am, like for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, that's not necessary.
Yeah. So like, you know, we ended up getting into it or whatever. And he tried to intimidate me, but I mean, I was just like, I know my rights. Like I don't have to show you anything. Like he's the one driving. It's his car. He showed you it's his registration. I'm just a passenger. Like you have no right to interrogate me. You have no right, you know, to my ID or anything. Like you don't. And so I ended up not having to show it to him. But I mean, like it was ridiculous. The fact that he even asked me that was ridiculous.
But see, like that's like I, of course, I'm based off my history with police, that like if you had been white, I don't think it would have been that situation.
I 100% know that it wouldn't.
Like,
well, okay. That's an exaggeration, but I mean, I'm very confident that would not have been the case. And you know, just based on like other situations I've been in, like traffic stops and stuff like that, like I'm very sure that like, you know, were I white and sitting there, or like, you know, some white guy was sitting there, that he would not have been even asked who he was.
Yeah, that's a sad truth though. That is definitely a sad truth. And
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of privileges that certain people have, you know, in our society. And I mean, like, you know, white people have a privilege. So, like in certain situations, women definitely have a privilege. Like, there are things that, you know, women can get away with doing that a guy could never do, ever, and get themselves out of a situation. So, you know.
I think that Cardi B comment that you mentioned before, when I was listening to y'all talk about that with Mike or MIC. I think that was a good example.
Oh, oh yeah. Was that the one where like she came out and admitted she used to drug guys
and rob them? Yep.
I was like,
what?
You gotta be kidding me. And like nobody gave her flat for it. As a matter of fact, people were, there were a lot of people on the internet that was like, well, girl, I understand it. Like, you did what you had to do. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. She's drugging people and robbing them. Like, no, like this is not something that she quote unquote like doing what she had to do. Hell no. Like that's ridiculous. But she got a pass because one, she's famous and she's rich. And then two, she's a woman. If a dude had talked about he was, drugging women and robbing them, he would be under the jail. Like,
he would be. Oh, damn! Like,
they would bury him under the jail.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that like. That's the kind of stuff sometimes just blows my mind. Like the things that happen. Like I just, I don't know, man.
It's crazy, man. It's definitely a crazy world we live in. Where those double standards like are a real thing.
Oh yeah,
definitely are a real thing. So well, now that we mentioned MIC, did y'all start y'all season back up yet? Did that happen yet, or?
We hadn't started yet. I'm gonna talk to Mike tomorrow to see if we can get some subjects together, and we're gonna start doing it on Sundays. Like we had branded it to be on Tuesdays, but I switched jobs in between that. I'm no longer off on Tuesdays, and Mike, has this stuff that he's doing, so we're gonna end up doing it on Sundays. But yeah, we're gonna start doing it again. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also gonna start my own stream as well, as I know I told you before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that as well at some point. Yes, whenever I decide to actually start getting it organized and not be incredibly lazy. It's hard for me. So I'm a pretty lazy dude about a lot of things. So.
Oh God, that's funny. But I mean, do you have an idea of like when, like what days?
I'm not exactly sure what days yet. Like it might just be on days that I'm off work, which are Monday and Thursday. But we're about to get our like work schedule changed. I might be going to a 4-day work week. Like it's looking like that's gonna happen.
10 days? I mean 10 hours?
Yeah.
You prefer that, or?
I'm 100% for that. Like I'd much rather just have like an extra day, and then plus like one of the days I work, is Sunday, like completely from home, where I don't take calls or anything as normal. I just answer emails. So that's gonna be one of my days working. So that's good with me. Like I am fine with that. So.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad. So like it's literally just emails?
Yeah.
Oh, that works. That definitely works.
Yeah.
Like that. Word. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm excited for when you and Mike come back up, because even though I only got a chance to watch that one episode, like the banter between you two is very entertaining, if I must say so. Oh man, like that. Even though like it's so funny too, because like even though like I have no idea about like the Tekken community or like the history of Tekken or whatever, but just hearing y'all talk about people getting bopped and smashed and the matchup stuff.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like it's even like the stream that I caught you in the I don't know if it was yesterday or the other day, but when I heard him, he was talking about maybe you can help me understand this, because I wasn't following him, but he was talking about rollback, and that like he says that he doesn't think that there's anything that can punish rollback.
Oh yeah. So like when you get knocked down in Tekken, there's various ways you can get up. Now, like normally in most Tekken games, you have a decision to make. Like you can either roll to your left, roll to your right. You can stand up immediately, or you can roll backwards. You can roll forward. and or you can get up with an attack. And so all of these have, all of these used to have consequences, and that's like the main thing he was talking about. So like in the older games, there was no like true safe way to get up in Tekken. Like you basically choose like what you think is going to get you away from what your opponent is going to do, or you could just stay on the ground and take an extra small hit that'll knock you further away, and then you tech roll up. So then you basically get out of the mix-up in exchange for a small amount of life. So it's like a trade that you make. So like now in Tekken 7, it's really hard to punish people rolling backwards. So like if somebody gets knocked down and they just roll backwards away from you, it's pretty hard for most characters to really do anything about that. Like they basically just get up for free, and it's like, well, okay.
Wow.
And there's like nothing you really do about it. So that's kind of the thing that he was complaining about then. But yeah, when you get up in Tekken, that's actually one aspect that I took from a game and put into Melee when I played. Is because like, when you wake up and all right, man. Take care, man.
Hey, good night, man. Thanks for listening, bro.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Yeah.
And so like, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So so in Melee, there's really like no truly safe way to get up in Melee when you get knocked down, right? Like, if you get knocked down in a situation where your opponent is near you, and when you're facing certain characters that are fast enough to get to you, you really don't have a way to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this and be 100% safe when I wake up. It's just like not an option.
Right.
So like, you have to just get up based on like where you think your opponent is gonna go, and try to get around that. So Tekken is the same way.
You said Tekken isn't or is?
No, Tekken is the same way as Melee. Like, for me, that's one of the things that like, I took from playing Tekken and applied, what I knew to Smash Melee.
Yeah.
Also because like it's pretty similar in how you wake up and things like that. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The thing about Tekken that confused me the most was like the combo system, where like you could extend combos and it would like you just be jabbing somebody's body like in the air. Like I never really understood that. That's common, right? Like it used to be common. I don't know about it anymore, but
yeah, it's still common. Like when you do a juggle in Tekken,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, when you do a juggle, you can think of it like this for Melee. So you know how like you play Falco and like you have a starter and then you usually pop them in the air with a reflector, right?
Yeah.
And then like your combo extender, depending on the position you're in, changes.
Right.
Well, like for Tekken, your combo extender can change based on what you want to do to the opponent. So like if you want to carry your opponent to the wall, you would use a different combo extender, and then after you use that combo extender, you would do the rest of your strings. So it's like for Falco, how you're like do down air to shine, to do an up air, to follow them to do like a back air or something like that, to finish it, right?
Right.
And so with Tekken, you would just hit your launcher, you would do like whether it's jabs or whether it's a move, and then you would do your combo extender, which is called a bound most of the time, or now it's called a corkscrew, where like you hit them in their body corkscrews and like their feet are in the air, and so you can run forward and continue the juggle, but you only get one corkscrew per combo.
Oh.
Yeah, so like if you were to corkscrew somebody and you hit them and then you continue to juggle and you corkscrew again, it's not going to have the special knockdown for you to continue your juggle. It's just going to floor them, and then like there's the mix-up game of like them try to get up and then you try to mix them up after that. So yeah.
So what was he referring to when he was talking about I think he was saying electrocute or.
Oh, he was talking about an electric.
Electric,
so,
yeah. What is that?
Yeah, so like there's a family of characters, the Mishimas, they have like an uppercut move, right? But if you do the uppercut move like frame perfect or within like a couple of frames, they'll do the uppercut, but there'll be like a whole bunch of lightning on their fist, and the move is better. The move comes out faster, and it's more frame advantageous on block. So
Oh.
so you want to do that move like constantly, and it used to be a lot harder to do electrics. It's a lot easier to do now, but like used to have like a shorter window. I think now like you have like maybe a 4 or 5 frame window to hit it, but used to have a 2 frame window.
Oh yeah, I saw in the comments they were like, yeah, he was asking, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like used to have a 2 frame window to hit the command properly. So like basically when you do it, like the motion is like a dragon punch from Street Fighter. Like you press like forward, down, and then down, forward, and the punch button. So you have to hit the down, forward, and the punch button at the exact same time to do an electric.
So wait, say
Like
so you have to do
okay,
it.
so it's like the command would be like, you know, on the D-pad or on the control stick or whatever you're using,
Yeah.
you would press forward, down, and then down, forward, like diagonal down, and the
Oh,
punch
gotcha.
button. But you have to hit the down, forward, and the punch at the same time to do an electric. And now, you know, obviously, like, it doesn't have to be frame perfect. Like, you don't have to do it, like, the exact same frame. But you used to have, like, a 2-frame window that, like, you know, the punch button and the down forward command had to be pressed, you know, together. But now they made it more lenient, so it's easier to do. It's like you have a larger window for error.
Gotcha. Okay, so now, okay, that's gonna make me asking another question about fighting games
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and the transitions. So, do you feel that over time that fighting games did that? They made games or like sometimes like different mechanics easier over time in order to make games more suitable for the big crowds or lower skill level people?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's been done since the beginning of fighting games. Like, people think this is like a new phenomenon. It's not. And like, it's not just to make things easier for like noobs, but like, they had to do it at first to make the games even playable. Like, Street Fighter 1, if you've ever played on a Street Fighter 1 machine, they're really rare. But like, if you've ever played on one and you tried to do special moves,
Yeah.
it's ridiculously hard. It's ridiculously hard to do anything. Fireball, Dragon Punch, very, very, very difficult. Because like when they were programming the moves in, and they're like, okay, when so and so does X command in these you know, X commands in these orders, you know, this character does this move. But the problem is that, like, you know, in much older fighting games, they made the leniency too narrow. So it's like, it was extreme. Like, you had to be like perfect for the computer to recognize the command and give you the move.
Really?
So like, they ended up, yeah. And so like with Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that, like they made the leniency more. They're just like, okay, like it was too hard to consistently do special moves in Street Fighter 1. Like, you know, we had a lot of complaints with that. So like Street Fighter 2, we're gonna make it easier, you know, to do and stuff like that. And so, was buffering moves even a concept in the 90s? Yes. Not as much as you would consider it now, but yeah, you could still buffer stuff. Like it, that was still a thing. Like even hell, Third Strike has like a really famous one. It's referred to as like charge partitioning, but it's actually like a way for you to buffer your commands to make charge moves come out faster. Like, it was needed for some combos. Like Urian had like one combo where he did like a whole bunch of shoulder rams in the corner. I considered charge partitioning. And Remy was another character in the game to where like you use charge partitioning to you know okay, I'm glad you were listening to this. But, yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah, but you know, charge partitioning also let Remy throw his sonic booms you know, in situations where he could throw them much faster and things like that. Like, as soon as one vanished from the screen, you just throw another one. so it made it harder to get in on them. So yeah, I mean, it's been a thing, but like buffering is more of a part of the game now. And then plus also it's a combination of knowledge. Also, like knowledge is much more accessible now than in the 90s and stuff. It's like that's the reason why you have people getting better at games faster and stuff like that, is because they just have like a lot of knowledge. Like when I was first learning fighting games, when I was first getting into like the competitive scene, it was pretty hard to find information unless like you just knew people.
Oh, so you got your information actually from people and not from the internet? You're saying?
Most of the time, but like we used to be in like a IRC chat and stuff, and then people would like, you know, share video and stuff like that. But I mean, there was no like, we'll just go look on YouTube, or like let's follow this player on Twitch or something, and like he'll give us information. So like, there's none of that.
Right.
You know, you just kind of had to like play. See, a word I always considered that different, since those are considered commands. Like what do you mean? Maybe I'm missing what you mean with that.
Yeah, I don't know what a strict means by that. I always considered that different, since those are considered commands. Yeah, I don't know what he means.
Like, so do you mean the difference in like just like an input delay or something like that, or I don't know if you could explain. I'll try to answer as best I can. Yeah, but
Oh, he said.
okay, I know now in like Street Fighter 5, they dumb down the fireball motions to where you barely have to follow them. Oh, yeah. So like, yeah. So now what a lot of fighting games do to make commands easier is they'll store the inputs essentially for like an increased amount of time, so that if you mess up the command and like press something else, and like you can still finish the command, you know, with like various directions. There's videos on YouTube of like, you know, people doing like Akuma's Raging Demon in Street Fighter 4, and they literally are like rotating the stick in a circle and mashing all the buttons, and it was coming out because like it stores the inputs for so long that like you could just do that stuff. Or like in Street Fighter 5, when like playing Ryu, like he has like a parry or whatever, and so like, you know, they were just parrying moves by just literally just like mashing the buttons out. Like there was no timing to it, like in Third Strike or whatever, with like the famous moment between Justin Wong and Daigo.
Oh, is that even moment 37?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that clip.
Yeah. So it's like in Street Fighter 5, someone recreated that with like, you know, Chun-Li and Ryu.
No.
And Ryu literally was like, you could just mash it. Like he wasn't even timing it, and like you could see the YouTube video of him just like mashing the stick, and then he's just like parrying it, like parrying all of it, and then he punishes him. So yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing now in fighting games. Like, you know, you'll have commands buffered for a lot longer, so that, you know, people can have an easier time getting their commands out. Yeah, I mean, Ryu's parry would be good if it were attached to a better character. Ryu is awful.
If it was attached to a better character.
Yeah, he is terrible.
Oh my god.
Street Fighter 5. Like, he's got a lot of problems with character. Like he's probably like bottom 3 or bottom 5 in here. He's real bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's also a game that I always wanted to like watch more. I never was like ever good with Street Fighter. Like, I mean, the old ones, like I don't even know the one that was, I guess, on Sega.
That's probably Champion Edition. That's the only one I can think of.
Okay.
That was on Sega Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah, like, cause the main ones I remember. It's like, I don't know if it was before Melee or not. But where you had Blanca, who do that like electric move, and then I think Vega, who could like climb on a fence or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wanted to be good at that game, but I did not know how to. Like, so me and my friends, when we played it, we literally just button mashed each other, and whoever button mashed best won.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how everyone starts. So, yeah. You just start just playing people like that, and then you eventually find out information to get better. I mean, it was a lot harder way back in the day, but it's a lot easier if you wanted to get good at the game now. It's a lot easier to find information and to improve.
Yeah.
So, which is definitely a good thing. Like I definitely don't think that's like bad.
Nah, I agree.
Yeah.
Chick said that was his childhood too. That's funny.
Oh hell yeah! That's everybody's childhood that plays fighting games. Yeah, man. You sit down with your friends or your cousins or somebody, just button mash, and just fight each other, beat each other up. Yeah.
Freaking, that was like my Marvel vs. Capcom days, man. What was your favorite fighting game from way back when?
Oh, my favorite fighting game, Capcom vs. SNK2.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Just hands down my favorite fighting game. Always has been, probably always will. But there are other ones I really like too. Like I really like the Street Fighter Alpha games. I thought they were really good.
Oh, word.
Yeah, like the only thing I didn't like was for Alpha 3 they made the custom combo mode, whatever, Vism. It was too strong. Like,
what's that? What was the custom combo mode? I didn't know about that.
Oh, so in Street Fighter Alpha 3 there was there were 3 different modes that you could choose, like basically like fighting styles at the beginning, right? And so one of them was Vism, whatever, like a variable mode, right? And so basically you could activate your meter to where all of your moves are cancelable, including normals and specials. And so you can like create custom combos to fight people.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like they were really broken for a lot of different reasons, and if they had found a way to balance, that, it would have been a much better game. But it was already a good game. So.
Gotcha.
But like now, sometimes in Japanese arcades they would run Street Fighter Alpha 3 tournaments, but they would ban Vism, so like you had to play with the other styles, like you couldn't play with the custom combo style, and it was a lot of fun to watch those tournaments. Like it was really cool to watch.
Word.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, dude. CVS 2, man. Like CVS 2, so good.
CVS.
So good. It was so good. But I was never a Mortal Kombat guy myself. I didn't really like Mortal Kombat that much, but CVS 2 was really fun.
Oh man, dude. I just honestly, for me, Mortal Kombat days, it was all about just the fatalities.
Oh yeah, that was most people.
Yeah. I think the first one I played, I played the ones for Sega, but Mortal Kombat 4 though was that was my ish though.
Mortal Kombat 4, really?
Yeah, I mean only because of like I knew the fatalities from Reptile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the only reason why though. He said 3D Mortal Kombat were buns.
I mean, yeah, like 4 was pretty bad. The other ones you could make somewhat of an argument for, like what was it, Deadly Alliance and Deception, and I forgot what the other one was. There was another one, I think, but yeah, you could like make an argument for those somewhat, but yeah. Mortal Kombat 4 is, it's considered by most to be easily like the worst game in this game.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I never knew that. I just remember like watching like I don't know if you've ever done this, but I'll go on binges of like watching old school games that I used to play. And
I do that. I do that a lot. Like since the Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R, it got a rollback patch on Steam.
Oh,
so
what?
A lot of people have been playing and buying that game. They just had a tournament on Arturo Sanchez's stream, and like the match arena got up to like $1,500. There's tons of people just
What?
like constantly donating because people were like, "Oh shit, Guilty Gear Plus R, like let's go!" And like, yeah, man, it was crazy.
What? Duh, that's man. I think it's something about old school games, man. Like they just hit different.
Yeah, like there's a few things I think that you can look at it kind of objectively and see like kind of why. Like for example, with new games, you'll never get an Evo Moment 37 like ever again. These new games.
Oh, true.
And the reason why is like how the games are made, and a lot of the hype is like manufactured. Like most games now have some kind of comeback mechanic or something like that, and so you have like a manufactured hype. So people are like, oh, he's gonna use this comeback factor, but then when you look at it in old games, there's no comeback factor. He just did that because he just parried it because he just knew that move was coming.
Oh my god.
And like he just did it. Like, you know, there's no flashing meter, there's no rage mode, there's no, oh, he's in low life so he gets all this increased damage stuff, like, or he gets these new moves. None of that.
No.
He was just low on life. His opponent had a life lead. He parried the move and killed the guy. And it's like, that's amazing to watch.
That was.
So you're not really gonna, yeah, exactly. It's like you're not really gonna get that anymore with, you know, with a lot of newer games.
That's a good point too, because I think what I don't know what Smash it was, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember like how the Smash mechanics started working after Melee. Well, except for Brawl, dude. But I think what was the third Smash? Well, that was the third Smash, bro.
Smash 4 and then
yeah.
Ultimate?
Okay, yeah. I think Smash 4 is the one that I brought up this rage mechanic.
Oh yeah. Rage was ridiculous in Smash 4.
Yeah.
Like I think they toned it down a little bit for
Ultimate.
For Smash Ultimate, but in 4 you had rage characters killing other characters at like 40%. And stuff. Like it was insane. I was like, this is ridiculous.
This
dude.
is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like you got people like, you know, they're at like 100 and something, like 180%, and like they'll just smash somebody at like 45% instant dead. I was like, wow, okay, like that's, man. Yeah, but this is a good point also, Strick, like they are making a lot of games now for the esports scene, and that's something that we talked about before on another stream about how much the fighting game community has changed with the introduction of, you know, corporate money. Like there's just a lot different now, and like games are being made a lot differently, you know, to accommodate this.
Yeah,
so, most definitely.
That's a super fact. Like I even know one of my buddies, like he's actually well, you might actually know of him. I think Chris Lightsey. Does that name ring a bell to you?
Was he the Doc player?
Oh my God, you do remember him? Yes,
yeah,
he was a Doc player. Yeah, like he actually he was so obsessed with the game that he was attempting to try to make a Melee 2.0. Like he was developing stuff, but he really couldn't get into the engine. What he was doing was he was making sprites to make like a 2D Melee, like for real 2D Melee, or I guess like where it looks like Mega Man sprites or whatever.
Interesting. So it's like pixel art type.
Yeah,
stuff?
Exactly, pixel art type stuff. And it was just so funny to me though, like that he literally spent like, I don't know, 4 years. Like he had like a graphics tablet, and he showed me all these different things that he drew and stuff like that. And the saddest thing was like what killed his want and passion to do it was at that time when Smash 4 came out. When Smash 4 came out, like I don't know why he was so hopeful, like, cause he knew that like Brawl was slow, and so he kept back playing Melee and trying to make his own game. But I don't know what person told him that Smash 4 would be any different. And he was like, if Nintendo is going to give me this crap, I don't want to make any game. I don't want to do it. He just gave up. I don't know. This was like 8 years ago. I don't know if he ever went back to it, but because I haven't talked to him in a long time. But I was like, man, this kid had like so much potential, and just like the graphic part of it. Like I think he was even good at the coding stuff. Like, I feel like he definitely could have made something. But I just found it so depressing that like Smash 4 just crushed his dreams of making what I thought could have been a pretty good game. It probably would have been fun. But
I mean, that was weird that he lost motivation in that way, because I mean, it should have been obvious, like you said, that Smash 4 was going to be in the same light as Brawl, because like Sakurai was very open about how much he disliked the direction that Melee went in.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
He's very open about that. Like, I'm surprised that like he thought that Sakurai would have ever been the project manager of a game that would, have even been remotely like Melee ever. That's just like really strange. I don't know why he would think that.
I don't either, man. I wish one day I could ask him, but man, and the drawings that he did too, man, like they were really impressive. Like, I just never. Well, what I did was I made a lot of preconceived assumptions about him based off of like how he played Melee, and like how like into frame data, and like believing that because Dr. Mario had up B cancel, that he could smash space animals easily, but yeah, man, like I just never would have thought that, like, him thinking that way about the game would have ever meant that he would draw the way he drew. Like, it's I guess like what I do, or what I used to do, I don't do it anymore, but I used to always like put people in like creative boxes, to where like if somebody was like very technical and very like specific when it came to like consistency and stuff like that, that they wouldn't have the abstract part of their mind to like create something like a drawing or graphic design or something like that. And that was something I had to get away from, like, a long time ago. But I really enjoyed seeing that side of him, because that was a side that like I never thought of. But no, Strick said he'll never understand that about Sakurai. I mean, like,
well, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty easy to understand. You can go ahead, Ron. You can go ahead and explain.
No, what I was gonna say was that like that it was all like a business move. Like, I mean, even though it was the story that I heard, that Smash came from a game that was presented first as like some 4-player person game called Dragon Fighters or Dragon Fighter, something like that, and that he was told that it wouldn't be successful, and so that's when they made the decision to transition from those 4 human type characters to Nintendo Smash characters. And that like the reaction from the N64, it was so positive that that's why Melee was legitimately an accident, and that Melee wasn't supposed to be the game that it is now, and like that's essentially why he transitioned to make Brawl and Smash 4 and the other games behind it. But that's my hypothesis. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, like, the only thing I was gonna say is that like you can just see it from people who don't really play competitive games. Like, when you when you play people who don't L cancel and don't wave dash, and I have my own stories about this, but it's like people get upset a lot of times at people who who are quote unquote tryhards in games. Because I mean, like, a lot of people take games really casually, and you know, in fact, the vast majority of people that play games take games very, very casually. Like a competitive base for a game is like maybe a couple percent of people that play the game. Actually, like most people do not play games competitively, like in any way. And so, like, you know, Sakurai was probably just one of these people. Like, he saw that, like, you know, people were learning how to just get really, you know, really, really efficient in the game, beating people that had no idea what they were doing and stuff like that. Like, it probably just got to him. He's probably just like, this wasn't what, you know, this wasn't what I intended. So, I mean, it's understandable to me. I don't necessarily agree with, you know, the mindset of that, and I don't really agree with like how, you know, how adamantly he was against it. But I mean, I understand the sentiment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely do too. Strick says he feels that if he just went about Brawl and the future installments the same way he went about Smash 64 and Melee, that there never would have been such a divide.
Well, yeah, but like, you got to understand that that's not what he doesn't care. Like, the vast majority of people that you know are going to buy your game if you put out a game, 98% of the people that buy your game are going to be casual players. They just want to, you know, they're going to get the game, they're going to get together with their friends, they're going to mash buttons, and they're going to beat each other up. Like, very few people are going to, you know, be concerned about like, oh, well, you know, there's a community divide and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I mean, that's the last thing that's on this man's mind when he's making this game. And to be honest, this should be the last thing that's on the mind of, you know, of most people who make games. Because, like, you know, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, why in the world would you cater to your competitive scene for the game when you should cater to the competitive, you know, to the casual scene if you want to make money, because you're trying to sell it mostly to them. You don't really care about like the 2% of people that are buying your game.
Yeah. When you say it that way, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to money in the end. Like, it really does.
I always find that sad though. Like, but you're right though. It's all a business, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, games have to get funded somehow, right? Like, you know, you can't just like, you know, make games because it's just a project you really like and not make any money from it and be like, okay, guys, like, let's go ahead and hire a crew to make another game. People are gonna be like, well, where are you getting this money from? like, right? Like, yeah, you want to go hire all these people to code this game and, you know, make these graphics and stuff? We didn't make any money on the last game. We lost money. So, you know, where is this coming from? So that's another thing that, you know, you have to think about when you're talking about game developers. You got to look at it from that perspective also to you know, fully, you know, to fully grasp like why they're doing things.
Man. All right, I'm switching to another game, man. I'm curious. I don't know if you got into this game, and I don't know if I've ever asked you about this game already. I apologize if I did, but the Uncharted series.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to play Uncharted 4, but I played 1 through 3, and I really like them.
Man,
like, you know, the first one had some control issues because they were doing some weird stuff with like the 6-axis and stuff like that, like to throw grenades. Like, that was really shaky. Like, it was really weird.
Wait. I didn't know anything. Like, because the backstory, real quick for me, I never played 1 or 2. The first one I played was 3. Actually, I've only played 3.
Oh, okay.
And loved it. Like that. I've watched Strick. You are wiling, bro. You need to play these games. Like, I literally have watched on multiple occasions, Marty. Multiple occasions after beating the game. I beat it over like the span of like a week, playing it at my friend's house in Miami, which I'll never forget. And I literally watched the YouTube video. It's like a 6.5 hour long video of just the game being played with no commentary, like four times in my life. Like, that's how much I love that game. And I want to play the first 2, but let me say, he said, I just remember seeing a little Crash Bandicoot Easter egg in Uncharted 4. That's funny. But no, so yeah, so please like fill me in on 1 and 2 because and what's this grenade thing that you were mentioning? Like you had to use.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like you know how the because the first one was on PS3, and so you know the original PS3 controllers, they had like the 6-axis system. So like you know it had like a motion sensor in it, and when you tilted it and moved it, like you know if you were playing a game that was 6-axis compatible, you know you could do controls with that. And so in the first Uncharted, that's how you had to throw grenades. Like you had to aim them with the 6-axis motion sensor in the controller, and it was really wonky. Like it was really weird to throw grenades in that game.
Wow.
And yeah, they had a few other issues like that, but I mean the game was pretty good. 2 is where they really hit their stride though. Like when you look at the improvements of Uncharted 2 comparison to 1, like it's really like I mean they're worlds apart, to be honest. And 2 is a fantastic game. But like 1 and 2 are both worth playing. Like I think they're both really good. So.
I really definitely want to play both of those games. I got to give a shout out though to my man Porkchops for popping in the chat, man. This is one of my OG Falco homies. I got 2 Falco homies in the chat. I got StriCNYN3 and Porkchops in this thing. Both who bodied me, you know, pretty bad in that matchup, but it's all good fun. Now, okay. So for 3 though, since I didn't play 1 or 2, what I wanted to do, I wanted to play them. I definitely wanted to play them, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to, because there's no way I'm going to be able to purchase a system anytime soon, just with the family dynamic and you know COVID and money situations. So what I'm considering doing is connecting with some of the YouTubers who do like the playthroughs and reaching out to them and doing like essentially like a reaction to the video to the game being played, because I'm very, very curious about the game, and I know that the amount of time it's going to take me until I'm able to find to buy a PS3 so I can actually play those games, it's going to be a while. And like I'm very, very like curious. I've always been curious about the first 2 games, and I stopped myself from watching the videos because I had planned to play them. But now with the current scenario situation, my backup plan is just to provide like commentary over them, like essentially like, you know, show my hands like, hey guys, I'm not playing this game, I'm literally just I'm watching, you know, a cool YouTuber who did like a playthrough and just doing like a reaction and feedback on it, and streaming it essentially. That's actually one of my plans.
Okay. I mean that's definitely a good series to do that with, because since you know the Uncharted games are so story driven, whatever, like, you know, there's a lot of like plot twists and story stuff to, you know, react to and to discuss and everything. So yeah, I mean that's definitely a good series to do something like that with.
Word. Yeah, I'm excited about that, definitely.
Yeah, man.
I didn't hear I didn't hear any bad things about 4, but I'm guessing 4 was pretty good too.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean, if it followed anything with, you know, the first 3, I'm sure it was a good game. Like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to play it, or anything like that. So I have been busy with a lot of other games. I guess, so.
Yeah. That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah, COVID season has given me a lot of time to work on my backlog, and then plus there's been like a lot of cool games for me anyway that have been coming out recently that I've been scooping up. So
yeah, word. Yeah, I like that Steam grind, man. I'm definitely a big fan of. I found out just recently that some of my coworkers at my data center job are like, they're out in California primarily. And one guy, I messaged him on a little Teams question, and he was like, he's like, sorry I didn't hit you back, man. No, he said sorry to hit you back so late. I was, up all night, playing a game, and I had just like I didn't even know the coworker that well, but so I guessed a couple games. I was like, was it Apex Legends? Was it Overwatch? WoW? Or I think I guessed another game. I don't know what it was, but deep down in my soul, when he said like he only plays one game, I was like, for sure it was fucking WoW. And like and that's exactly what it was too. And
Oh man.
yeah. and like it kind of made sense to like then I started to like think about our interactions previously, and I was like, yeah, he definitely plays WoW. Like I don't know what it is about people that play WoW, but it's a lot of them have like this thing about them. Like yeah, like that's what it is. WoW be taking your soul. Like it's like you can essentially like tell when somebody's like a battered like 15-year WoW veteran or something like that. But that Chuck's crazy, man. But then he even told me too. I was like, wow, I didn't realize we had that many gamers, because on my team I have a guy who's like a super twitcher. Like where he actually brings an iPad into work and has it like watching GTA online videos like literally all day. Then I got another coworker who's really big into what game is he really big into? Destiny. Yeah, he's super big into that. But then I came to find out though, like the WoW guy name dropped some dude, another guy on the team. He's like, he's like, if you want to talk to somebody about games, you need to talk to Jason, who apparently Jason has so many games on Steam that he can literally like scroll for like a full minute through how many freaking games that he's played and has. Like,
Jesus.
I was like, bro, like I don't know where you got the time to do that. I mean that's impressive, but that's a dream for me. That's definitely a dream for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I don't know. I have no idea what types of games he plays or anything. But man, that's a lot.
I couldn't do it, man. Definitely couldn't do it. But
yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, for me, most of the games I like I'm a huge role play nerd. So like, I like a lot of the, Japanese RPGs and stuff that come out. And my problem is that the games that I like to play are like, at least like 70 hours long to like sometimes like 120 hours and stuff. So it's like I can't really get through a whole lot of them sometimes because they're just so long. So that's why I have such a backlog of games. But as I said, this COVID stuff is I've been killing that backlog. I've been going through some games.
Word.
Oh yeah, I've been going through some stuff.
Yeah, I need to actually hit my old emulators. I'm actually what I'm about to do is about to get into Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I played that game like once when it came out.
Dude, that's it's one of my favorite N64 games, dude. Definitely by far one of my favorite N64 games. I'm really looking forward to streaming it. There's actually one guy, my boy Porkchops says that's his favorite fucking N64. The game is it's amazing. I mean I love Mario 64. I love 007 GoldenEye, but Conker just it just hits different, bro. Like it just like I don't know what it is, Marty. I can't explain it, but I can.
I mean, hey, like there's sometimes you just like, you just like certain games. Like there's definitely some games that are some of my favorite games of all time that were I to name them, you would be like, what? Why?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. My friends used to clown me when I was a kid for some games I liked. Like I used to get clowned super hard sometimes.
Oh man, like okay, well let me like what you got like.
All right. So one of my favorite games of all time is a Super Nintendo game. The name of it is Aerobiz Supersonic.
Aerobiz Supersonic.
Yes.
Oh.
And you probably never heard of this game.
Never.
Okay, so the entire point of the game is you are the this is gonna sound like really stupid. This is gonna sound really dorky, but you're you're essentially the CEO of an airline company, and you're competing with a bunch of other airline companies. And so your job is within 25 years to become the #1 leading airline company in the world. And so like you have to do all these things, like you have to set board meetings, and like you have to compete with these other companies and make bids on you have to make bids on how many strips you can get at different airports so that you can fly your planes in and you can make revenue. And like I used to play this game all the time when I was a kid. My friends thought I was crazy. It was like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen. I was like and like for me, I was like, dude, I'm in second place right now. I can catch this guy. He's like, his company's only worth like a few more million than me. Like I could get this guy. And they're just like, dude, what the fuck? Like you play all these fighting games and stuff like that too, and like all these other games, and you play this, and it's like, this game is fun. I love it.
He said this game is fun.
So yeah, there's a few games I have on my list that I really enjoyed that people definitely thought I was weird for.
Man, I dude, that was literally the first I've ever heard of anything even close to that. Like I don't know anything about that. but it sounds different though. It definitely, I have to say, it sounds different.
Yeah. Like as I said, this was a Super Nintendo game. Man, and so I used to play this game all the time. So.
Damn. That's crazy, bro. That is Super Nintendo.
Yep. As I said, I was a kid, playing this game, and like I said, my friends thought I was the weirdest dude.
Whoa, my God. I still remember freaking Battletoads, man. That was my ish.
Oh yeah, I used to like Battletoads back in the day too. I never beat that game. Like I got really close when I was a kid, and then like I just never played it again for some reason. I don't know why, but I just never beat that game.
I never actually got I never got a chance to play nice. There was a Mario Kart for Super Nintendo that I didn't even know that actually existed. I only kind of knew because I had this Mario Kart for Game Boy Advance. And
3DO? Oh no.
What? Wait, what?
Strick said he grew up with a 3DO, so he had all the weird shit.
Oh, what?
No, not a 3DO.
Wait. Which one was the 3DO? I forgot what that was.
Oh, so that was Panasonic's console, right? Like
what?
Yeah, I think that was Panasonic's. Because like that was the weird time where like a whole lot of companies were trying game systems. Like Philips had the awful CDI. I don't know what they were thinking of that thing. And then Panasonic had the 3DO, and then that was when Atari tried to make their comeback, and they made the Atari Jaguar. And yeah, there's all sorts of weird experiments with video games around that time. It was very unusual times.
Wow. I thought the 3DO, well, I know there was this one system.
It's literally one of the worst systems. Yeah, you're not kidding. The 3DO was garbage. TurboGrafx 16 as well, but that was a little bit before those. But yeah, that one as well.
You said TurboGrafx 16. What? Wait.
Yeah. You never heard of the TurboGrafx 16?
No. What was that?
Yeah, it was a 16-bit competitor with like Super Nintendo and stuff. I forgot the name of the company that made the TurboGrafx 16. I think it's NEC. Might have been the name of the company.
Nah, I never heard of that. What year was that?
God, that was when I was a kid. Like that had to be like early 90s, maybe. When did the? I'm gonna look real quick. I forgot when that system came out. TurboGrafx. TurboGrafx 16. Okay, so yeah, NEC was the name of the company. I was right. It came out. Oh, it actually came out earlier than that. It came out in 1989.
Oh, wow, that's when I was born.
Yeah. It came out in 1989 in the U.S. It came out originally in Japan in '87. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but yeah, this was like an early 16-bit competitor. Yeah, and I mean it wasn't great, but it was the thing for a little bit.
Yes, it was the thing.
Yeah, the only reason I knew about when I was a kid, my cousin had a TurboGrafx 16.
So okay, so you got the family connect.
Yeah, my cousin always had a whole bunch of money because he sold dope.
Oh,
when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the best way to get money back in the day, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, boy. And so like he ended up actually getting a Neo Geo home console, and those were ridiculously expensive.
That's the one that I was thinking of when you said 3DO.
The Neo Geo.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the Neo Geos were super expensive, and then games were really expensive. Because I mean, most Neo Geo games would run you like at least $150, maybe a couple $100 per game.
Oh wow.
And stuff, yeah. But the quality at the time was amazing because the cartridges were really large, and the reason why they were really large is because they fit all of the RAM that was in like an arcade machine. They put it into a cartridge that you could use on the home console, so you had all the performance and like the fast loading times and the graphics and stuff of an arcade machine just, inside of a cartridge. And so that cost a lot of money at the time.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then there was I think immediately after that, you guys have probably heard this since you guys like Nintendo a lot, but the sordid tale between Sony and Nintendo.
What do you mean? No. Sort of tale.
Oh, okay. So like, have you ever looked at the bottom of a Super Nintendo and like, there's like, if you open it up, there's like an extension port. There's like a little port that you can open on the bottom of it, and like, there's an extension port. So Sony's original PlayStation was going to be an add-on for the Super Nintendo.
What?
Yeah, and so like, so they designed it to hook to the bottom of the extension port, and so Sony came to them with the design and said like, hey, we want to add this on, your system. What do you guys think? And Nintendo said no, and their reasoning behind it was like, well, I don't think anybody's ready for CD-based gaming or whatever, and so they tried to sell the idea to Sega, and Sega had a legitimate reason to say no because they had just lost a lot of money on the Sega CD, like it bombed, and they weren't really having a exactly. They were supposed to be one unit. It hooks to the bottom of the Super Nintendo where that it's like a 24-pin or 36-pin extension port that's underneath it, and it was supposed to hook to the bottom of it. And so after people saying no, Sony just decided to make their own system. That's why we have PlayStations now.
That's why?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't.
And then yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I mean, we were pretty close to not having PlayStation. Or at least like PlayStation as we know it now. It was going to be like, an extension of a Nintendo system. But also, Final Fantasy VII was supposed to be on the 64 originally instead of being on PS1. That would have really changed stuff up.
Wow.
if they had gone through with that project. But Square, Square needed more money, so like the original project, Final Fantasy VII was too big to fit on one cartridge, and so they were like, well, guys, we're gonna need more money. It's not necessarily a mistake, Strict, because to be fair to Nintendo, this was going to cost them a lot of money if they had let Square continue development, because like games were really expensive back then, like for cartridges, and so this game was going to be like 4 cartridges long, like 4 or 5 cartridges long. Like, that game would have cost like $400 when it came out.
Damn.
Like, hands down. Like there's no way they would have bled money if they had let Square continue this project. So, they were just like, well, no, like, you guys want too much money. Like, there's no way we can sell this game. And so then, Sony was like, well, we have a CD-based system, so it's really cheap for us to make games because we don't have to craft cartridges. We just make CDs, which cost like pennies for us to make. And then you can store a lot of info on them. So it's 3 discs long. And, Final Fantasy VII ended up becoming, pretty much a pop culture phenomenon, really, in gaming. So it's just like, oh yeah, cartridges were really expensive. Like go back, you can go online, look up old KB Toys ads, right? You can do this now, Ron, if you want. But
I want to do this.
Go
I wanna do
look
this
up
right now.
Yeah, dude. Go look up old KB Toys ads and stuff for like Super Nintendo games, like cartridge games and stuff. Like, you'll see how expensive making cartridges was. Like, this was not sustainable in any way. Like, it was not. This was not sustainable.
Wow. Okay, wait. So I'm looking it up right now. So we're looking at, you said EB Games ads?
Well, look up KB Toys
KB
is probably the best example. Yeah, just look up KB Toys, and you can just look at the images, and they'll probably have like old ads.
Let's see. I'm gonna put up. Oh, it's showing like stuff like the hold on, I gotta see if I can
You might have to look up like KB Toys video game ads or something like that. But yeah, dude, you can look at some of those old ads. Like I've seen them in like I remember buying games or like
stuff like
getting
this?
my parents to buy me games as a kid. And so look. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, these are the ads right here.
Yeah, like these are some of the ads, and so like look at like, and you have to think like this is in like the 80s and 90s money as well, and so like Mario 3 is like $45, and like these are sales. Like if you look up like Super Nintendo games, they're considerably more expensive.
Oh wow. Dude, I don't even remember. Wow. Oh, dude, Kirby's Dreamland, man. Damn. Yo, Tetris Blast, though. God, that was actually one of the only Tetris games that I had, and I actually had this original Game Boy, too. Oh, man.
Yeah, but like this was not a sustainable thing that they could do. Like they could not keep making cartridges like this. That's one of the main reasons that it's one of the main reasons that media changed, because like it was expensive to make cartridges with like the memory in them, in order to maintain quality. And so with a disc-based system, you can fit a lot more data on the disc, and since you can fit more data, you can put higher quality graphics and stuff on the disc, and then that's kind of like what made the transition from cartridges to a disc-based system for like the main home consoles. Yeah,
I like that. This was this the system I was trying to think of? The Game Gear. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, the Game Gear, yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I used to have one of those. Yeah. the Game Gear was a good way to kill 6 AA batteries in 2 hours.
Oh my gosh, right? Like that.
That's exactly what that game did.
That's exactly what that game is. Oh
Like,
man.
like it was man, like but for its time, and this is kind of like Sega's deal, for its time, the Game Gear was phenomenal. Like the Game Gear was absolutely phenomenal. It was full color. It had a backlight, so you could play it in the dark. Like the only thing is like they could not get costs down for the Game Gear, and they couldn't get the power consumption down either. So it's like you were chewing through batteries. That was one of the biggest complaints like parents had, for their kids having those, was like literally the life was like an hour and 45 minutes, I think, or something like that, or like close to 2 hours for 6 AA batteries.
For 6 AA batteries.
Yeah, for 6. Like that's insane. That is insane. Yeah. Yeah, straight. Exactly. A whole 6-pack in 2 hours. Insanity. Like this was not sustainable. Like people are just like, I'm spending more money on the batteries than I did the game system. Like,
facts.
man. But I mean, like for its time, like it was amazing because like that thing's main competition was the Game Boy, the original Game Boy. This thing was in black and white. It had way worse graphics, like not even just like because of the color, but just like the way that the stuff was pixelated on the screen. Like, the Game Gear had like stereo quality sound and all this. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Oh man. I never even thought about that, man. That is so funny that you mentioned it. Like my dad used to be mad as hell because I don't know if you had that drawer at the house where like your parents just threw batteries in.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
My dad was like, Ron, where the hell are my goddamn batteries at? I got the goddamn remote. I was like, oh man. Oh, that
I'm telling you, dude. Like, like if they could have found some kind of way, to cut power consumption on that thing, to cut costs, like they might have blown Nintendo out the water in the portable market. Like they might have just like trashed them.
Man,
this thing was light years beyond the Game Boy.
Fucking 6 AA batteries, bro. Oh man, yo, and Strick, I was just about to say that too. Like I literally used to go through the TV remotes, and I would leave the remotes empty, and my mom and dad would be pissed as fuck. They'd be like, "Where are the damn batteries at?" I'd just be in my room under my bed playing goddamn game.
Porkchops, if you think I have hidden scroll gaming knowledge, you should check out my friend Wes, man. Like you should get him on here sometime. He knows a whole lot about
are we talking about GA West?
Oh no, he's a other fighting game player. His tag is a skeletal minion, but his name is Wes. And yeah, he knows a lot about like the hidden gaming lore as well.
Oh nah, dude.
Like, a whole lot.
I would like to. He's on Discord, right?
He's in. I think he might still be in the fighting game community Discord. But I mean, I'll tell him about the show and see if he wants to come on sometime, and
that'd be dope.
We'll see. But yeah, like he has a ton of knowledge about like a lot of hidden game stuff, a lot of stuff that like he told me a lot of stuff or whatever that I didn't know, everything like that about like different stories about games during development and stuff like that, and like why things ended up being like the way that they were, things like that. Yes.
Let's go. I'm all about that shit, dude. I am all about that shit. Cause
yeah, man. Like you'll find that like video games have a lot of really interesting like history to them. Is like when they're getting made, like there's usually a lot of weird stuff that happens with like the corporate levels and stuff of it, and like there's actually they might still have it on Netflix. There's a documentary series. It's called High Score.
Oh, I think I
yeah,
saw that.
Yeah, dude, it's really good. It basically goes over like the origins of, you know, video game companies in like the United States
Fox, I'm gonna do a double.
and stuff like that. And it's like, it goes through like the rise of Atari and like, Nintendo coming in like after Atari and things like that. Like, it's really, really good, and it's in depth. They have a lot of cool interviews with a lot of people. Really, really, really good.
Let me see if I can watch the trailer real quick. Hold on, let me pause my music real quick. Let's see what this thing talking about. Oh wait, I don't think I'm. I'll make sure I got the stream up. Yeah, I got it up.
Video games afford you the opportunity to start over. In games, we all start at the exact same place to play together because we're all playing by the same rules.
Long before the internet, a handful of visionaries reimagined the world.
We felt that we were creating world-changing technology.
I had no idea what to expect.
So like the coolest thing about this is like just looking at like some of the stories for this are just like they're so insane. It's just like, dude, really? Like, I can't believe this was a thing.
This was a thing.
Like how in the world did this like start this way? I can't believe this started like this. Like, yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, this is crazy.
People no longer played video games, they played Nintendo.
It all started when our hero Mario had a very strange dream.
Having a fast console wasn't enough for Sega. They needed a new hit game.
やはりそのアメリカで人気になるようなキャラクターになってほしいっていう思いもある。You'd see kids screaming, Sega, Sega! They woke up Nintendo. We have the biggest consumer electronics company on the planet. Coming after us? Awesome.
It is a sick video game. Shame on people that produce that trash.
I made the worst game of all time.
What we did back then was ahead of its time, but the time is now.
Okay, I am intrigued. I am definitely intrigued. Okay.
Yeah, dude, definitely watch this if you have the chance. It's really, really good. If you're, if you have an interest in like how video games got started and like kind of like the origins of like, why certain decisions were made, and you'll also find, more in depth about one of the craziest. This is one of the wildest promotions for video games I've ever heard of. So, there was an Atari game series. I think was it called like Sword Quest or something like that for Atari. Give me just a second. And it's like Atari Sword. Yeah, Sword Quest. So on the original Atari 2600, they came out with a series of dungeon crawling games called Sword Quest. And each of them took place in a different world based on an element, like fire world or like water world or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go in to the game, you have to find these treasures. Now, what they did as a promotion, they literally made treasures like gold crowns and swords and stuff that like players could win if they completed the game. Like it was like a promotional contest.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like literally like jewel encrusted sword, like gold crown with jewels in it. Like these things are worth like tens of thousands of dollars. And they literally made the contests. Like I think they go into it a little bit in that series. You can also find out other information about Sword Quest or whatever. Like it was insane. And so like they had these contests of people like, trying to solve the puzzles in the game, and then when they did, like, they ended up winning, and like you can go and find the winners and stuff. Now, before they could get all of the prizes out, they canceled the game series, and so like, there's a couple of the prizes that aren't accounted for, but one of the guys that took over for the company, Atari, like he has two of them, like there are employees that said that they know he has the crown and then they said they're pretty sure that he has the sword, but they haven't like seen him with the sword, but they saw him with the crown. But yeah, like they did this like crazy promotional series where you could just like win treasure literally for playing this game.
Win treasure. We're playing a game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it's one of the craziest promotions I've ever heard of for a video game.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've never heard of something that crazy before. Trying to promote a video game, bro.
Yeah, it was wild.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. That's super wild, man. Damn. Oh man, now I'm in awe right now. Like even with Strix, like that's wow how they just make you straight up go.
Yeah, dude. Like they just straight up like had these things made. It was just like these treasures. Like, let me get the exact treasure list for you real quick. I'll just tell you the items that they made.
All right.
The Sword Quest treasures. Okay, so I think this is the 35-year hunt for Sword Quest Lost Treasures. So, so all of them total were $150,000 worth of jewel encrusted treasures.
How much?
So total, all of the treasures were worth together, roughly around $150,000.
Wow.
And so like, so the prize for winning Earthworld was a talisman that was made from solid 18 karat gold. And it was inlaid with diamonds and birthstones from all of the 12 zodiac signs. And on the front of it was like a sword that was had like a little jewel in it. And then the prize for Fireworld was called the Chalice of Light, and it was made of gold and platinum. And it was adorned with like diamonds and green jade and pearls and rubies and sapphires like around the edges, and completely around the cup. And then the three prizes that were never given out because the promotion was ended was the Crown of Life, which was encrusted with diamonds, green tourmalines, rubies and sapphires. The Philosopher's Stone, which is a white jade rock that was completely encased in an 18 karat gold box that was encrusted with diamonds and emeralds and rubies. And then the grand prize, that was valued at $50,000, was a sword that was built with a gold handle. The blade was made out of like 100% like pure silver, and then it had like jewels and stuff inlaid in the handle and in the blade and stuff. But the sword alone was $50,000.
I'm done, bro. I'm so done. I am so done, bro. Are you kidding? You just read that. That's real facts.
Yeah. This is real facts. This is documented in it's documented in the documentaries as well, and like there are former employees that talked about it and stuff like that. There's photos of people with the winners of the first two contests, and they have the items. Like those people have the items, like it's showing them with them. It's crazy. Like it's one of the craziest things I've ever heard about.
That's freaking crazy, bro. I can't. I can't comprehend that right now, dude. Like I just, oh man, that's crazy. That is just super wild, man. That's super wild, man. Damn, dude. Wow, I didn't realize it was already 2:30, bro. Oh, you know what?
Yeah, dude.
That time, the time change. Well, actually, I guess it would actually be later right now because of the time change, right? When? Wow.
Yeah, it would be 3:30.
That's
we weren't in daylight savings.
That's probably why I'm feeling as tired as I am now. Okay. Well, man, yo, dude, I want to say thanks, man. Like what I want to do now though, like you got me excited. I want to make some. We gotta come in with some topics like some hidden game lore stuff, man, because that's you know that's like my favorite subject. One of my favorite subjects, of course.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, video games have a very interesting history. Like, there's a lot of like really weird and interesting stuff that happens. But yeah, dude, I'll talk to my friend Wes and see if he wants to get on as well. Because, like I said, he knows a lot about that stuff too.
That would be dope. That'd be super, super dope, man. Yeah, I definitely look forward to that. And what I'm gonna do, my goal for this week, because I do have hopefully a slower week this week. Well, I should have Friday off, Friday the 13th off. So I'll use that off time to see if I can watch that high scoring movie, man, because it sounds dope. It definitely sounds dope.
Yeah, dude, definitely check it out. And it's not a movie; it's like a mini series. Like they have like a bunch of episodes.
Oh, okay, it's a mini series. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely check it out, dude. There's some interesting stuff in there, like really interesting stuff. I think you'll like it a lot.
Dude, appreciate it. I'm putting it on the calendar right now, bro, so that way I don't forget.
Cool.
Sweet, man. Well, dude, it's always a pleasure, man, having you on here. Oh man, 2P Tony, man, you popped in the stream right when I was about to thank everybody for coming and thank Marty for being an amazing co-host and like giving this knowledge. Like we had like a little politic talk. We had some white privilege talk. Had some video game talk. This was a pretty good one. I gotta yeah, no, dude, like he said, let's hear more. No, that's what we're gonna do. We're Marty. It's what Marty and I are gonna do. We're literally this. You gotta hold me to this. We're gonna actually come up with like topics, like specific topic we're gonna hit next week, next Saturday night, and hopefully we can stop before midnight. But no, my girls come first, man. My young queens always come first. But yeah, definitely got to do that, man. But you again, Marty, thanks. I appreciate you, man. Porkchops, 2P Tony, Strick. Thank y'all, man.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on your stream, Ron. I always enjoy it, man. Like, thanks for having me. Thanks everybody in the chat for chatting it up with me, chatting it up with us, and listening to a couple old guys ramble on. So,
yeah. Super facts. For those who want to hear another OG in the Smash community, I can probably say I've been looking at just GA West's stream. Me and him will want to definitely do some collaborations in the future. But I'm actually going to raid him. He's going to be the first person that I ever raid ever. So.
I didn't even know West streamed. Wow.
He just did. He just started recently.
He just started? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just started back up recently. So yeah, that's the Samus player from the documentary who does illegal moves. But that's him. But yeah, so I'm about to raid him right now. So if you guys want to pop in, say hey with him real quick before you hit the bed, man, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Or follow him if you don't already follow him. That's my homie, man. Definitely my homie. But all right, everybody, y'all have a good night, yo, and peace and love.
All right, see y'all later. Peace.
All right, peace.
Oh shit. I just realized something, bro. Hold on. Let me see if I'm right about this shit, yo. If I'm right, that's gonna change everything, son. Yo, hold on. Fuck! Oh my god, son.
Did you find something out?
I'm trying to figure it out, but the bosses ain't letting me touch them, man. I think only one boss takes life, bro. Cause I did special to one boss and nothing happened. His life just remained the same. Watch, look at Jay hit the other boss. Look. Look at him if he has the other boss. Just pay attention to him.
That one's taking damage.
The one Jay's hitting?
Yeah.
Look at the one I'm hitting. Look at that shit.
He took nothing.
You see? There we go.
Alright, so we gotta find which one's the real one. No, but how are you able to kill one of them and then the other one was still here?
I have no idea, but you need it. You know what I think it is? It all depends on the. It's probably an order you gotta kill him in.
No, because remember, do you ever see there's a red bar within the yellow bar?
Oh, that's how it works?
That's the other one's life. That's why one is always lower than the other. It won't show it until it's low. And then theirs has the red bar, but the other one has the yellow bar, the main one. So it doesn't matter. We're gonna have to kill both of them anyway.
Alright, whatever. I thought we had something. I thought we figured something out. Never mind. Broke my heart, bro. Yeah, cool, but yo, this is ridiculous, bro. We're at the last stage right now, supposedly. It's called Final Fight LNS Ultimate. With all the characters from, like, a lot of Capcom characters, yo. They got Guy, Ken, Ryu, Gao, Chun-Li, Blanca. Then they got Captain Commando characters. Then they got characters from Aliens vs. Predator, the fighting game. Then they got...
They have Darkstalkers.
Oh, they got Darkstalkers characters. They got Cadillacs and Dinosaurs characters.